All right, good morning. How is everybody doing? Welcome to another week in the markets. Happy Monday. Is everybody nice and alert, ready for another volatile week? Got some fun things to look over this week. So, my name is Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. It is May 17th, 2021. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Starting off with our SPY. We've got a large shadow on our weekly, and we're starting off on the weekly given that we are starting a new week. We see that the volatility did start to expand last week. That was noted by the price action that we encountered, and also specifically things like our volatility index, things like volatility futures, really starting to kick back up and showcase a little bit of fear and uncertainty in the market. Got some higher volume on our weekly, and we can see that over the past couple of weeks, we actually tested multiple weekly sessions on the weekly perspective. So things are a bit in flux in the weekly perspective. We are sitting roughly mid-range in the past couple of weeks, and that can easily be seen on the monthly as well, where the SPY is attempting to essentially showcase where these price levels want to stabilize, and if they are not stable at these elevated levels, the potential for a much larger correction if we were to see some key signals coming into the market. So SPY was able to hold in. We saw some good reactions on Thursday and Friday. Those were met with some pretty strong trending days to the upside. Market was able to hold the 50-day moving average. And we also noted some key trend lines that so far on the SPY haven't truly been tested, but I would say are within range, definitely within earshot. We also saw IWM and Qs coming into their trend lines, also having some nice reactions for more of a short-term bounce perspective. Obviously, at this point, we're trying to see what is the next phase of this market and what are some advantages we can look into. So our SPY is able to recover on Thursday and Friday. We came back into a notable area that for a period of about a week, we were having a lot of very compressed price action. And the SPY was able to come here and basically test that area. We also were able to close in this range. And so far, at least in pre-market, if we dive down a little bit deeper, we see that we are fading slightly from this spot, roughly the 416 to 417 range. So moving into this week, we're going to be looking for the market to essentially prove to us that that bounce had enough of conviction for bulls to sort of gain back control of the overall dominant trend, which is still relatively bullish. We know that the SPY is one of our stronger indexes, with things like the Qs being our weakest. The Dow is arguably one of the overall strongest, and the IWM, I would say, is somewhere in between. But with the SPY showing this large reaction, there is definitely opportunity on both sides of the fence to short-term have some large range moves to the downside on back tests of some of our smaller support levels, intermediate support levels. There's also opportunity if we see conviction of the bulls forming that higher low, starting to compress the shorter range that we've now formed, and essentially showcasing who is truly in control after a volatile week of downside price action. We noted last week that the overall size of the bounce is often an important probabilistic method to figure out what to expect next. I'm going to go ahead and dive in a little deeper here so I can get my actual prices correct. And what we saw is that the market in the SPY perspective was able to get both a 50% retracement, which was the case on Friday morning, and then the follow through on Friday got us up to 61.8. So that reaction was notable. We were able to clear some of those Fibonacci levels. And at this point, the probability is likely for more compression as we see these ranges start to get tested once again. So we have a large range. We're able to see a recovery bounce. At this point, there is likely going to be sort of that back and forth battle as prices get tighter and ranges start to compress, potentially leading us into what we saw in March, where we had that key sort of bull flag breakout, and that led to some of the price action that we were able to take advantage of in April. We saw this on the Qs, we saw this on the SPY, and if you do recall, it would be these areas here where we're able to essentially clear this range, and then we got some additional opportunities on breakouts moving forward. So that's our perspective on the SPY into this week. As we look at the Qs, however, we get once again that slightly different story. The Qs have broken down and moved past their 50-day moving average. If we look at our weekly perspective, we see that this trend line was able to hold on the weekly. For some reason, charting software never keeps the lines perfect. But the perspective here is that the weekly was able to hold the trend, but the recovery bounce has not been as significant yet. We see the elevated volume in the past couple of sessions, and ultimately the volatility expansion that we discussed on the SPY, it certainly took hold inside of the tech and QQQ index. We look at our monthly as well, we kind of see the potential of some formations here that could be considered short-term bearish, or at least in the perspective of the monthly, the potential for trend reversal structure. We saw a new all-time high on the monthly, and then the fact that a lot of that range so far has been rejected in the month of May. We have a lack of follow-through in this range. The market had to essentially pull all the way back down to the lower end of the range to test. And at this point, we certainly do not have a very clear definition of whether that continuation can continue without something potentially deeper as a correction. So as we zoom into our daily, we're trying to get a sense of, once again, what are some advantages and disadvantages of looking at the Qs in the term of, do we want to get bullish in this area? Or is the bearish to, I would say, range-bound trading likely to continue? And what we have is very notable daily downtrend. We were able to form this double bottom, reject on a breakout potential. It's essentially our first bounce attempt. We failed and moved price lower, and now we're getting that second attempt. We have some key resistance levels to get over, and we have not done so yet. We have simply come to test them. Overall, we have not even come to this downtrend line to confirm that it is still in play or to potentially break from it and look for that back test to lead us to higher prices. So from the Q's perspective, the tonality of bullish, bearish, range bound, that tone is shifting, and we want to essentially take note of this as being protective if we were to go long, or being conservative if we were to go long and look for targets. We also want to consider the idea that short term, there may be better advantages to the downside. There may be bearish plays that will lead to more opportunity and more range that can be taken advantage of. But at this time, a lot of that movement has been priced in. So congrats to those who were able to take advantage of that intraday, and also to take advantage of the bounces intraday, as we've gotten a lot of good range across the board. As we're looking here, we can see potential for this to compress is on the table. We're going to see if these prices are respected, and we have three good ranges to look over: our upper range, our mid range where we failed the first bounce attempt, and then obviously our lowest range, with the most recent low being a key area that we do not want to lose in the short term. We can see the respect here as well on this trend line. Once again, this trend line has acted as a great area of support in the past. We've gotten some large opportunities to the upside off of this trend line, and short term, that has played out quite well to the upside. But we also want to take note of the larger time frame and how certain ranges are starting to become less stable. We are seeing a lack of follow through on the most recent all-time high breakout, and we're also seeing very volatile downside sessions throughout some of the shorter weekly timeframes. As we get to our final index product, it's going to be the IWM, and the fact that, once again, as we look at our monthly perspective, this product is certainly attempting to hold this upper range, but we've gotten a ton of range-bound trading throughout the past couple of months. What was once a strong index moving into this upper range, we certainly do not see that same tone in the past, call it 2 to 3 months. We've got a clear lower area that we're attempting to hold. We've seen 2 tests of that area so far, marked roughly by the trend line. We've also seen that the weekly moving averages are acting as a general area of support. We were able to close above the 20 weekly period on Friday session. But once again, this is clearly defined by a risk level, a support zone that this product does not want to lose, given that the downside effect would be potentially quite significant. So we do have notable highs in the past. We see a lot of trend structure moving into this upper range. And what we are essentially looking at is potential for a period of distribution in the IWM, at which point, if we lose this period of distribution and start to go into a markdown period, more on that in just a moment, that markdown can be met with quite a significant correction, given where we've come from and where we could head into the latest support zones. On the daily, however, things are, once again, potential for those short-term bounces. What we want to do is take note that this market has bounced quite significantly in the past off of these areas. We've gotten nice follow through on the first attempt, a lack of follow through into a test, and then a slow grind comparatively to other index products, and then a failure back to test this area for a third time. So depending on your perspective, And depending on your time frames, as traders, you want to define key areas that offer really good risk to reward to the upside or the downside. And then you want to note that a loss of these areas is going to signal the fact that the tonality of this index is changing. Keep bringing up that specific phrase due to the fact that we are looking at a market that may be shifting into something that is maybe not quite as bullish as we've seen in recent months. And just to bring up the 4-hour, we can see that trend line as well, acting as an area of support. So markets are at a point where a lot of proving has to be done. We've seen tech come down quite a bit and have not had the same overall reaction to the upside. We've seen the SPY showing some relative strength, but a lot of that potential bounce move is probably priced in at this point, and there is potential for, once again, some sort of higher support back test as we've gotten some follow through off of the 405 rough area. We're seeing things like the Dow have similar reactions, where we saw a lot of downside on a fail of this breakout. We're seeing this market, similar to the SPY, having very notable 61.8% retracements from high to low. So we want to keep the opportunity for bulls to grab hold of this market once again, to essentially form that higher low and to give us breakout structures that we can start to play as traders. But given the volatility and given that there is proving left to do, we do not want to assume that overall this is the end of this volatility. We want to stay cognizant and aware that this market may be throwing the first sign of something much larger about to come. So short term, we remain optimistic. Longer term and realistically, we recognize that the volatility has elevated. Things are certainly willing to sell off harder than most people may be prepared for. And if you're looking to protect yourself, look into things like hedges or even taking certain amounts of profit on longer term investments or core trades that you are unwilling to give unrealized profit back on in the case that this market is willing to sell from this point. So always be open to possibilities. Be aware that this market is geared in such a way that we are extended on weekly and monthly timeframes in multiple areas, and the potential corrections could be larger than most people may anticipate. We just want to essentially enlighten that this can happen across the board. So short term, what are some opportunities that we're still looking at and want to monitor moving forward? I would say that the key one that is still on my radar is gold. Gold is at this very critical area within a channel structure on the daily and weekly perspective. We can see that very clearly on the weekly. Gold has essentially completed the channel traversal from low to high. So if you're playing as a trader or sort of seeing the shift in this market, you are able to essentially hit your target at the low of the channel to the high of the channel, and you are anticipating the potential for a rejection at this channel high, which has happened in the past. If you are instead looking for some sort of breakout, we have gotten a very strong double bottom, a range down here that broke out quite strongly, and now we have the potential for this trend to continue. So as we monitor gold, we want to see if there's any warning signs short term of this channel starting to reject. Something akin to this would be a potential warning sign and potential shakeout structure if the bulls were not able to catch the downside move on this rejection. And longer term, we certainly want to see this market break the 200-day moving average. We want to see it break this channel, have a nice extension above, and then potentially a back test somewhere in this zone to show that the channel structure is potentially over and we're looking at new formations and potentially a markup period in gold. We would also like to see similar confirmations in other metals. Things like silver would be the easiest place to look for those confirmations. Silver notably weaker than gold, but same basic concept. We do have a short-term trend that so far has not been broken and has led to higher highs and higher lows from the low point, similar to gold. We want to see silver clear notable resistances that we've had in the past and essentially get out of this potential range, leading to a new markup period as it's had in the past. We can see that markup period here. This is essentially what we're anticipating if this were to get out of this range. We want to keep an eye on the dollar. Dollar so far has been signaling certain opportunities both in the metals and in the equities markets, where downside in the dollar has led to strength in equities, strength in commodities, strength in metals. If we get upside in the dollar, we would once again look for that correlation to take hold, either see consolidation or weakness in all three of the aforementioned products. We also want to keep just a close eye on bonds. This market so far has not seen a willingness to step into bonds as a risk-off asset. We're seeing bonds essentially holding on the weekly near the 200 period moving average. We've also seen interest rates slowly climbing and trending in this in the perspective of the TNX or the TYX. But overall, we haven't seen that clear breakout structure, an indication that the market is willing to mark up bond prices. And in doing so, a signal that maybe there is a risk-off posture starting to form. We certainly see gold as a potential inflation hedge. That doesn't necessarily mean it is a risk-off posture of the market. It is simply another asset to consider and trade, aka, trade or invest in. And as we look really quickly at crude, we see this channel still holding. Overall, we're looking for signals to get out of this short-term area of consolidation. And we see natural gas clearing the $3 spot price. So natural gas is going to be on watch this morning, given that we have a nice tight consolidation over the past couple of weeks. This entire area, throughout some of the crude volatility, natural gas has held up quite well. And now we're seeing a clearing of a key psychological resistance on a gap up and so far on continuation. So natural gas, I would say, is a short-term trade opportunity. I'd be looking at some natural gas stocks, maybe some natural gas ETFs or ETNs leveraged to consider for day trade opportunities if that is something you're interested in. So moving into this week, what are some key things we want to remember? This market has some proving to do. We've seen a week of volatility. We've seen a lot of short-term momentum be lost in this market, specifically in tech and growth names. We still have XLK driving a lot of that volatility to the downside, and even on bounces, not seeing the same amount of follow through. While we have things like financials holding close to or at all-time highs. I would say close to specifically. Same thing with industrials, and let's see, I believe those are the two key ones that we are often watching. Healthcare as well, although structurally quite different. So the SPY is seeing a little bit of that sector rotation play into last week's volatility. Thursday and Friday were more of a correlated sort of intraday session where all asset classes in the SPY were sort of moving in the same direction at the same time. Usually when you see this on the downside in the form of capitulation, which we talked about briefly last week. We did see a bit of that on Wednesday, and then that subsequent correlated bounce to the upside. The issue with both of these concepts is that we are unsure whether that was a dead cat bounce, where you get correlation in both directions. Those are great opportunities short term, but not necessarily the healthiest view on the market in the longer term perspective. It is much healthier and ideal to have a market continuing to do sector rotation, because it shows assets starting to be moved from in play, cyclical in nature, new economic or market conditions leading to strength in different areas, and then weakness in other areas as maybe that has sort of played itself out and the cycle for the bullish thesis is over in those areas. When we get correlation, the issue with that is everything is moving in the same direction, and the volatility in both directions is going to be significant, because you don't have things balancing themselves out through rotation of other sectors. So when we have those intraday sessions, keep in mind that if you're able to spot whether things are starting to correlate, you can avoid a lot of the mentality of buying certain dips and trying to fight a market that is trying to tell you that it is selling off. Similarly to the upside, on a correlated upside day like we had Friday, you can join in or not fight an upper trend and allow the market to essentially carry your position higher without resistance or chop with other sectors starting to fight you through sector rotation. So I would say use last week and use some of the examples from Wednesday and Friday specifically as things for your trade book, things that you want to maybe take a look at a little bit deeper and understand what can happen when a market correlates and how can you take advantage of it if you see it in the future. What are some key signals you can look at internally, things like tick, things like advanced decline line, things like all of your sector ETFs moving higher at the same time. And what are some things you can do as a trader to find opportunities to get into those trends? You're looking for certain buy or sell setups. You're obviously looking for a market that is telling you that, hey, I am strong, I am weak, I am unlikely to change on a it's going to take something quite large to even see a short-term top or bottom. Those are going to be your days where you're very likely to get a nice trending structure and have a lot of opportunity in the direction if you're able to take advantage of it. So with that said, it's Monday. Let's gear up for another week of fun in the markets. Obviously, some good opportunity today. I saw a couple of things regarding Discovery Channel and AT&T. Looks like those are moving pre-market and may give us some opportunity intraday. Another thing to maybe keep in mind, Discovery Channel was one of the key stocks that had some of the downside momentum from the collapse of Archegos. I believe it's called Capital Management, but I'll just say the fund that blew up. There are other stocks involved with that, and they may all correlate on this good news with the merger of those two companies. So look for other stocks that may have similar structures and may have a similar correlation, sort of breaking the downside, I would say momentum or just lack of follow through to the upside if you're looking at those key names. Those are going to be things like Viacom and Tencent Music. There were a few others that were involved, but those are probably some of the key names with the best liquidity for day traders. So with that said, I'm Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. Stay tuned for pre-market prep. We'll get some levels on our charts and get prepared for a week to come, and also look for some opportunities into this new market condition that we may be entering into. So take it easy, trade safe. We'll talk more tomorrow.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hope you had a great weekend. Good morning, Norm. How are you doing today?
Hey, good morning, brother. I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Cannot complain. Again, hope everyone had an amazing weekend, guys. And let's get to it. This morning, we have a bit on the red. But before we do that, guys, big thumbs up for Jared and his Engineering the Market show every single morning. So let's make sure we show that appreciation for what he's doing there. With that said, guys, to start off the week here, we have a couple of bits of Bitcoin stuff here in the red, leading the way. Mara, Riot, CAN. We got some other coins that are taking a bit of a hit here. And in the green, we have AMC, which continues to just crush it. So we'll see what's going on there. And we got looks like Viacom, TME, Disca A and Disca C. They're all in the same industry per se, Norm, right? These guys are all in that telecommunications type stuff. So getting a little bit of a bounce today. We'll see what's going on there as well. So looking forward to get into another week of trading. Let's take a look at what's going on with the market as far as any events coming up that we should be aware of.
Yeah, I mean, Jared, I won't rehash it. It's Monday. We'll see how the week goes. Jared did a nice deep dive into what's going on in the markets right now. This morning, we just had the Empire State Manufacturing Index come out. I did not look at it, so I don't have the number. I apologize. And then we've got the Home Builders Index at 10 o'clock. So that's what's on the radar for today. And we shall see which direction we resolve in after kind of recent pullbacks, especially in tech. So.
All right, absolutely. All right, guys, let's get to it. Starting here with what's gapping down. Actually, it's gapping up this morning. Let's start there. Let's remove watch list from last week, which is this one here. Let's delete these rows and we'll create some new ones. Here we go. All right, perfect. That should be enough there. All right, starting with Disca C today. They are up 20% this morning. Again, we're seeing Disca A, TME, and Viacom also up slightly. Good pre-market action, very active at the moment. We'll have to see how great the intraday trading is going to be on this one. Definitely in play. Norm, is there any overall news on these?
Yeah, absolutely. This is huge news this morning. AT&T is going to spin off their Warner Media assets, which is a lot of their broadcast stuff, CNN, movie studios stuff, into a company with Disc K and Disc A. So
gotcha.
That's moving this sector.
Excellent. Guys, we're not going to watch all of them, but Disc A and Disc K definitely in play right now. Let's have both of them. We'll come back to them and fine-tune that a little bit later. So Disc K and Disc A. We'll add both of them here. Disc A has a little more volume, guys. 4.1 million shares traded, only up 9.6. Disc K is up 20%. Less volume, so not as pretty of a pre-market action as we are getting with Disc A there. You can see a slight little bit better as far as the price action itself. Both dailies very similar. So we'll get into what's going on there just a little bit later. Viacom, let's talk about that one since we're looking at it as well. This one has some action here, 998, maybe a possible, but also keep in mind, this is not the best trading type stock. So we'll keep that on there. And then the only other one in here is going to be AMC. So AMC is up 3.3 this morning after a really nice end of the week last week. You did get a nice little pop here on Thursday. On Friday, they tried to get going. It did end the day red, but still good overall on the gap up, right? So not bad on the gap up from the close on Thursday. Today, they're up 3.4. Great volume. You saw the amazing trades we did in the chat room last week on these. Andrew had also some incredible trades on that one. Let's keep it on here, guys. Definitely in play today. We'll see how the fun continues on AMC here. Heading down, let's look at what's capping down this morning. Mara taking a 10% hit this morning. Riot a 9.8.
Lots of Bitcoin on there after Elon over the weekend saying that Tesla may at some point get rid of their Bitcoin holdings and then clarifying that they haven't sold any. So weird stuff, man.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Yeah. Just insane what's happening there. So guys, this stuff is definitely in play. Mara taking a big hit, and Mara has been actually pretty nice to trade. We had a couple of trades early last week on this one. It did move very well, and we do have shares for short. So let's add Mara here. Probably one of my favorite ones to trade out of the Bitcoin stocks that we have here. You do have Riot not looking as good or as clean. That is also down 9.8. CAN is another one. Coin is not Bitcoin, but this is, again, this is down quite a bit as well. This is taking a hit probably in sympathy move here, 3.1 as well. Obviously, any bad news in this cryptocurrency affects all of them, right? So they're taking a bit of a hit as well. But this one's a little bit harder to trade, guys. Recent IPO, as we all know. So just be mindful of that. I'm going to keep Mara on deck, and then Riot could be maybe a secondary, but I won't add it now. I want to see what else we have down here. CLSK, this one is down 7.3. Pre-market action is not looking great, guys. It is only 106,000 shares traded, and you can see that. Look at the way this action is trading here. It is not clean by any means. So we'll skip on that one. Let's look at Golf. Today, they are down 7.5. Looks like a block trade. Not a whole lot going on there. 650,000 shares traded dropped this morning. Cannot tell the time here, but again, just a block trade. Not much going on there, so we'll skip on that.
Yeah, there was a trade that went through at 8:04 Eastern, 650,000 shares. So literally, other than the block trade, there's been 14 shares traded.
Yeah,
1-4.
Yeah, so
it's garbage.
Not in play, guys. Let's
great golf balls, terrible stock to trade.
Yeah. Oh, is that what they do? They do golf balls. Okay. All right. Cool.
It's Titleist.
Yeah. Gotcha. BNGA here, guys. This morning they're down 3.9, 371,000 shares traded. Horrible pre-market action this morning. We've seen better from them in the last couple of days. Actually, they've done some pretty good trading in here, and we've taken advantage of that. But the pre-market action today is just all over the place. A little bit lighter on the volume. Look at the volume on Friday, 103 million shares traded. I believe we had it on deck because the pre-market action looked a lot better, very clean. Today, not looking like that. So I know this could be explosive. I know it can get better. We might be able to add as a possible for now, just to take a second look at it later down the line if it does get cleaner. But at the moment, guys, not looking so good. Here we have SEAL, SEEL, a horrible price action in the pre-market. Horrible daily, guys. Very light on the volume. This does not look good at all. Down 3.7. I know they have 556,000 shares traded, but it just doesn't look clean. So we'll skip on that one. Here's Coin. We talked about Coin a little bit already. It's just difficult to trade. Not a clean price action in the intraday when the market opens. So I'm going to stay away from it. LEDs was fun a few times this year. In February, we had a couple of breakouts here. It did it again in early May as well. Today they're not looking so hot though. Down 3.6, 150,000 shares traded. This is a low flow stock, guys, and we need a lot of volume on here. We did get a pop up on Friday. If a continuation is going to happen here, the volume has to come in. So we can add it as a potential low flow if we can get the feel going on this one. But right now, not really in play at the moment. TSM is a foreign stock. We've seen this one before. Does not intraday trade very well. I remember they had, was it last year, end of last year? They had a couple of days where they actually did something pretty nice here.
It occasionally does, but it's fairly rare, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So for that reason, guys, I'm not going to add it. I know that this was a 1 in a million shot here of it trading well. We can find something better today, hopefully. Airbnb this morning. Let's now select 1. Airbnb this morning, they are down 2.3, guys. 4.3 million shares traded right now. Been taking a hit over the last couple of weeks since May here. You can see the downtrend and finding a little bit of an area of support. So I do like this daily. I like the fact that we're finding support here. I like that we're bouncing with some good volume as well. So that's decent. Airbnb is not going to give you a clean pre-market action. It's just not going to do that. And I agree. We do have a block trade here, icon on 3.2. Right on here, nice big trade. But aside from that, you still have 1 million shares outside of that trade there. So there is some volume for Airbnb this morning. I know a couple of you guys like to trade this one. I personally, do not. Let's put it on here. We'll come back to it. Let's see if there's anything going on. But I do like the daily here. I like the support we're building here after a couple of days run towards the bottom. Can we get a pop going above this 143, 42 will be interesting. All right, aside from that, some more coming up here. SKLZ, this one, it is not looking good this morning. Volume is very light, so we'll skip on it right now. And NNDM, it's kind of a hit or miss type stock. Their pre-market action right now looks horrible. I'm going to keep it off my list. I know a lot of you guys like this one, so if it gets better, I know you'll be looking out for it. Throw it back out to me, and we'll take a look at it. All right, that is what we have so far. Norm, anything you like on your end?
Yeah, I'm going to give you one I usually wouldn't touch because of its price.
Yep.
But possible MNMD. Mike. Yeah, Mike November, Mike Delta.
Excellent. So here we have this one. Is it a low flow stock, this one?
No,
it's not. Okay. We're moving then this morning.
This is a company, I believe, based in Canada that researches hallucinogenic drugs for possible therapeutic treatments. And I think it started trading here not too terribly long ago. So anyway, it's active this morning. It's been moving. We'll see if it can get above R4 there, if it's just stuck. It might be a nothing, but I'm not seeing a whole lot, so I thought I'd throw that one out. Yeah. Apple looks kind of decent too. Maybe it's getting going this morning. We'll see if people want to pick that up after a bit of a sell-off overnight.
I do like Apple just to watch anyway, especially on a day like today where there's not a whole lot that looks great. I mean, we have a ton of stuff here in the gap down list, but going through it, there's not a lot that looks decent this morning. So Apple's a good one to have on deck. The way this market's been trading. Actually, on their daily too, they look pretty good too as well. Aside of things here, they're down slightly. Might be trying to get into the green here. Volume is coming in 485. Yeah, Apple's is a good one today. to keep an eye on. All right, guys, let's go into our chat. Let's see what we have here. Let's start with Corey. Yep, Norm gave us that one. NNMD. Next, we have what else we have here? X. Let's take a look at X and then American Airlines. X this morning. Yeah, I like X, man. X has been just doing pretty well. Right now, they don't look so hot though. They look better last week. At the moment, volume is a little bit light. Pre-market action down 1.2. Maybe a week possible for today. Let's see if that can get going. American Airlines this morning. Is anything going on with the airlines? Are they in play? Because again, they really have not been the last couple of days, even with the market movements. Notice how the market has been moving and pushing things around quite a bit. We've seen that over the last couple of weeks. Look at American Airlines; it's barely moving. Compared to like if you look at an Apple, right? Let's look at an Apple for a second. You can see the movements here. We're getting better candles on the daily. American Airlines and some of the airlines is just staying steady. They're not doing a whole lot. So I don't think they're in play. Had a big day yesterday. Friday. Right, big nice pop here, getting to the top of this resistance area. Could be interesting, but the volume and everything else, I don't think it's in play at the moment. Let's take a look at CCL. CCL, another one on the travel area here as well. We have it's like identical chart to American Airlines. Nice pop on Friday, but again, not doing a whole lot this morning. So we'll keep a lookout for that. I agree, Fabio. If this thing can get a breakout, would be nice, but we will need to see more than that than what we're getting right now in the pre-market action. But we know these stocks, as you know, guys, we like CCL, American Airlines, United, all these stocks that we've been trading heavily the last 12 months. If they pop up on the scanners, we can quickly look into it and see if they're going to be in some kind of play for today. What usually happens is that when the market does that, the watch list that we have starts moving well, and you really don't need to go anywhere else, right? You start looking at an Apple, you start looking at at a Plug, at a Neo, a Tesla, and these things are moving nicely. You can take advantage of that. With that said, looking at Plug this morning, again, pre-market action not so great, 2.1 down for the most part. I do like Plug, so I'm going to put it as a possible. A lot is going to depend on how this market wants to move. Let's take a look at Uber today. Uber, I don't think is in play, guys. I don't see a whole lot there. Volume extremely light, only 32,000 shares traded. I do like the daily. If that's what you're looking at. You're getting a little bit of a base happening here and maybe a breakout above 47.50 or so. That's interesting. But outside from that, I don't see anything that looks too crazy at the moment. YMTX. No, this is not in play, guys. I mean, just a couple of, 10, 10, and 10, probably 10 shares a pop here or less. Actually, it's 20 shares been traded so far. So not in play here. ALTG, let's take a look here. Same, guys, no volume. I know it had a nice day on Friday.
Good 300. Spread.
It's
not liquid.
Yeah, it's not good. That. It's not good. And even if we had volume, this thing doesn't trade above 1 million shares. So yeah, you don't want to look at something like that. You'll be stuck there waiting for it to do something, end up getting out at a loss of probably the spread because it didn't go anywhere. So you don't want to do that.
TLRY on average 98,000 shares a day.
Wow, yeah, that's not going to work.
Stay away from it.
TLRY, guys, this one again. I know they've been okay right now. 129,000 shares traded. Their daily looks interesting, slamming against this area of support over and over again. And you can see lower highs being built here. So it could be interesting, but right now I'm just not seeing anything good as far as for the market open. So we could do on this one if it hits the scanners. If we see something great, we could take advantage. But right now I'm not seeing anything good on that one at the moment. EJH, there we go. Recent IPO on Friday. Right now, they're just a little bit all over the place, up 28% with 128,000 shares traded. But if I look at the action on Friday, guys, right? This is Friday's intraday action on the 5-minute. I want no part of this, right? This is not looking good here at all. So just be careful with something like this. This is already setting out to not be a good intraday trading stock. I don't know what the flow is. We might not have it yet since it's just opened up on, I don't have no information on this. eHome House Services, household service. It's not looking good. Let's take a look at Baidu. See what we have here. Baidu this morning, they are up slightly right now. Not a whole lot of volume. Their daily does look interesting, guys. A lot of these companies been getting slammed, right? So they're finding some kind of support. So that looks good. Possible breakout on the daily, but as far as the market open, just nothing great right there. So we'll skip on down for now. Let's take a look at DBGI this morning. They are good volume, 4.7 million shares traded. Just opened up on Friday, it looks like. Yeah, IPO'd on Friday. Good pre-market action. We do not have shares for short. Let's see how it traded Friday. Let's take a look at that. Let's hop in here. Just kind of went sideways, had an initial drop and didn't do a whole lot. Today they're getting a lot of activity, so it could be interesting. Could be interesting. I'm only putting it as a possible just because, again, it's a recent IPO. We need to wait to see to these things to settle down and see if we can get any good opportunities out of this. But again, very, very active this morning. Looking very nice. All right, Disney. Let's take a look at Disney. Let's get rid of some of these levels on the daily. Disney pre-market action. Okay, this is okay for Disney. Again, they don't get great pre-market action. They're not going to look like a Plug or a Neo or anything like that. So again, we'll see. Had a big drop on Friday, guys. Remember this? It was a slam. Was it on earnings? I forget what it was, but they did not do well on Friday. Earnings, yeah. So we'll have to see what it does right now. I mean, it just doesn't look too good at the moment. Only 81,000 shares traded, down 0.5%. So not a whole lot going on there. BNGO looks okay for now. We'll keep an eye on that one. What else do we have, guys? PLBY. Let's take a look there. No, I don't like the pre-market action on this one. I do like the daily. I see you're looking at possible breakout to test some of these levels up here. But aside from that, I don't like everything else on it at the moment. PLTR had a couple of great days last week. This daily does look interesting, guys. Look at the wind up here. We're getting higher lows into this 20 area of resistance. Previous day close. That could be interesting. Possible breakout. Pre-market action's got some volume, not as much as we saw last week. But yeah, PLTR could be interesting. We'll put that on there. TME, yeah, we looked at TME. TME, these all are in play today. We can add TME on here. We can fine tune it a little bit later. So TME is in play as well. Viacom is in play. Disca K and Disca A have the most volume and the better pre-market action out of all of them right now. At Disney, we looked at T's got it going on today. 5.4 million shares traded. So they're definitely in play this morning. My concern with these stocks, Norman, you know it. You know, AT&T, Verizon, Sprint, they don't move a whole lot. Even with news, even with earnings, they're very difficult to trade and get a good movement out of them. This pre-market action looks better than usual, so maybe we'll give it a shot, taking a second look at it. But I wouldn't put it too far ahead of the list because I know that even with that pre-market action at the market open, when the heavy volume comes in, they just don't move a whole lot. DKNG pre-market action is pretty dead right now. Again, a lot of stocks with this similar daily action, right? We've been having a drop over the last couple of days, finding some kind of support here. Breakout, a good day on Friday, was not able to break out of this 45. So we see a lot of stocks in this same situation. It's going to be interesting to see what the SPY is going to do today. The overall market might help some of these stocks break out of that resistance that they're having in the last 4 or 5 days, right? So we'll be on the lookout for that on some of these here. So DKNG is falling into that category, but the pre-market action, guys, is not as great as we've seen in some of these other ones, right? AMC, for example, Mara looks very active as well. And MD here also looks very good, guys. A nice breakout here this morning. We got some other ones, even BNGO. Possible breakout as well if we can get going. So we got quite a bit sitting on there. Airbnb, same thing here. You see the last 5 days is kind of slamming it against that 142. A Plug as well, slamming against that. So we got some good ones on here as well. All right, let's stop here. Let's check over a few on YouTube. Neo, our buddy Neo. What is Neo up to today? 605. Again, similar situation, guys. Drop over the last couple of weeks. Trying to find a base here. Neo could be interesting. I like adding Neo because it can be very explosive at times. Let's put that on there. Coin, I don't like, guys. The pre-market, the intraday action on Coin is very choppy. It is not clean. I just don't like the way that stock trades overall. SOX L for the most part here, we are down 3.7, 530,000 shares traded. Pre-market action on this though.
ETF.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it is. Okay, it's pre-market action is just not great. So again, ETFs, guys, you can trade them. I just read them, put them on my list. So you keep an eye on this and see if something good comes out of that. Neo is good. ARPO. What is ARPO? More of a penny stock, guy. So don't really look at that. Alpo, yeah. Alpo here. Yeah, this is just not looking great. 7.5 up 14.7. But it's again, this is more of a penny stock trading under $1 here. Just stay away from that. At least I would. Apple, we do have on deck, guys. ATOS, ATAO, ATOS, excuse me. No, I'm just not liking this pre-market action. I'm not liking the daily on this one neither. This day looks very, very bad, by the way. So, and is it a low float? What is this? ATOS. It is not a low flow. It is 120 million shares flow, which makes it even worse, actually. Because a low flow, you can at least expect some volume to come in at the market open and make it explosive. This one, you might not get that, so that's not a good one to keep an eye on. We could be wrong, guys. It could be the best trading stock today, but we got to go with what has worked in the past, based on our experience over and over again, right? CALA. This one is popping up 12.3 this morning, 1 million shares traded. Pre-market actions got a nice pop here. Then the rest after that, you're not getting much pre-market, right? So I'm concerned that this might just be over and done with just like that. It is a 62 million shares stock. And here you can see that the volume is very light for the most part. Today they're trading 1 million, which is it seems to be what they trade on a regular basis. So doesn't look too good today. We're gonna probably skip on that for the most part. All right, let's stop here, guys. We are going to go into our community announcements. We'll come back and fine tune this list after Norm and after Dr. Katz this morning on our Mindful Monday.
All right, guys. Every Monday we do a quick weekly rundown. So here we go. Brian, swing trade discussion, 2:30 in the afternoons on Monday in the chat. Every Monday night live, you've got the onboarding classes with Carlos, Mike, and Kyle. Starts at 8 p.m. and then segues into technology soon after the onboarding. Tuesdays and Thursdays, trade review with Eamon at noon in the classroom. Success webinars. Our Tuesday night, 8 p.m. psychology, 8 p.m. Wednesday. And then we've got Andrew's new mentoring session he's doing in the webinar room at 11 a.m. during the trading day on Thursday. And of course, Thor's group mentorship, what a word, 8 p.m. on Thursday. So full schedule, guys. Hope you take advantage of it. We've got some great webinars coming up. If you'd flip the slide, we can get into that. Andrew's going to be doing part 2 of his Coming to My Trading Room series. Just go through all the details about what enables him to trade the way he does and how he trades that way. If you missed part 1, which was from last week, it is posted, so you can watch that and catch up before tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Then next week, we've got Thor talking about how he uses VPA and ranges to trade through choppy price action, which summer coming up probably will happen more than we like, but we'll see. Then mindfulness. We've got Nada tomorrow night talking about let storm of emotions pass without drowning you. I might need that myself. It's raining like crazy. We're supposed to get 10 inches here this week. Then next week, we've got Dr. Katz, who we'll be speaking to in just a moment, doing a town hall. That's where he'll pick 2 traders out of the room. They'll kind of have a group discussion about trading psychology and maybe what they can do to improve themselves and such. And you can watch participate in that. If you want to participate in the member trade of the day, trade of the week, take a screenshot of your best trade. Yeah, I might need somebody. I might need your boat, Corey. Take a screenshot of your best trade of the day and trade of the week. It obviously should have entries and exits so we can see the trade, and then any commentary you can add to describe the strategy and why you took it. Post it on Twitter, tagging at Bearable Traders, at MikeB_BBT, and at NormBBT. Also use hashtags BBT Family, Day Trading, and Stock Market. We'll announce the winner each day in the BBT chat and on Twitter. And then the team will vote over the weekend. And that winner for the week will be announced on Monday. If you're watching YouTube and haven't been in the chat, use the promo code PREMARKET24. It'll give you a discount off the 7-day trial membership. Doesn't auto-renew or turn into any other kind of membership. You actively have to go pick a different membership category to continue on and sign up for that. It also, if you're looking to become an elite member and take advantage of all those webinars I was talking about, use a promo code Memorial40. That'll get you 40% off the annual elite membership. Dr. Katz, how are you, sir?
Good morning, Norm. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Are you getting this crazy rain down there too?
Actually, we just got to our house in Cape Cod, Massachusetts
So
last
you're
week.
missing all
So
of it.
we are in 66 degrees and sunny this morning and beautiful.
Nice. Well, I've got crawfish crawling across my driveway this morning, so it's been raining cats and dogs. Anyway, um, uh, we are going to talk about flourishing this morning. You're going to continue a topic we discussed last week, and one of the elements of what you can do to help yourself flourish. Take it away, sir.
Yeah, so I know a bunch of weeks ago we started talking about languishing, and that was a big problem during the pandemic. And then I wanted to get into kind of flourishing, which is how people kind of can feel better and improved. And we went over a bunch of stuff with that last week. And this past week, I read an interesting article that is very near and dear to me, which is really how exercise may help us flourish. I've been somebody who has been an athlete and an exerciser my entire life. Um, and so this had a great meaning. A woman by the name of Gretchen Reynolds wrote this article in the New York Times, basically about physical activity and how it can promote a sense of purpose in our lives. Our exercise habits may influence our purpose in life, and our sense of purpose may affect how much we exercise. And based on this kind of new study of the reciprocal effects of feeling your life has meaning and being often in motion. So there was this study of 18,000 middle-aged and older men and women, and basically what they found is that those with the most kind of stalwart sense of purpose in their lives at the start were the most likely to become physically active over time, and vice versa. And this basically underscores kind of this interwoven relationship between physical activity and psychological well-being, and how it can kind of run both ways. There's been plenty of scientific evidence that being active bolsters our mental and physical health. People who exercise generally have a decreased likelihood of depression or anxiety, and people who tend to be depressed and anxious tend to exercise less. Um, but most studies have been around physical activity and negative moods, and fewer have delved into the positive or moods and emotions associated with physical activity. Now, a sense of purpose is really the feeling you get from having goals and plans that give direction and meaning in your life. It's really about being engaged with life in productive ways. And so active people often talk about how exercise gives structure and meaning to their lives. It provides goals and achievements. That's one of the side benefits of regularly exercising. And this article describes this big research project with this large sample size. And basically, the results were that people who started off with active lives generally showed an increased sense of purpose over the years. And those whose sense of purpose were sturdier in the beginning were the most physically active years later. So overall, the associations are pretty sturdy and rational here, and that people often report more self-efficacy after they take up exercise, which might prompt them to feel capable of setting new goals and developing a new and augmented purpose in life. And when you have goals and a sense of purpose, you probably kind of then want to be a healthy person and live long enough to fulfill them. So again, although this makes common sense to a lot of people, it's always good to have scientific studies and research to kind of validate that the role of physical activity and exercise is important. And where this affects your trading, I think it's the structure in other parts of your lives. We've talked about structure and discipline and process. These things are all, there's a reciprocity factor. And with your trading, as everybody knows, discipline and structure and process are hugely important. And exercise can play a very positive and prominent component in your overall health and well-being, but can also, I believe, have ancillary benefits in your trading life.
No, that's fantastic. I know that when I'm active, I feel like I trade better just overall in a better spot. So thank you for the advice, Doc.
Okay, very good.
Have
Everybody have a
great
good
day.
day. You too,
You
Norm.
too.
Take it easy.
Bye.
All right, excellent, guys. Thank you, Dr. Katz. Appreciate that. All right, let's get to it, guys. Let's look at our watch list this morning, starting with Apple. So Apple's on deck, guys, getting great volume right now. 1.8 million shares traded. Looks like somebody just dropped a million, 1.3 here just a few ago. So that is very active this morning. We'll see how that's going to play out. Disca A and Disca K both on deck, both very active. We'll just have to play them closely. I might not keep both of them on deck. I think I like Disca A little bit better. They have a better pre-market action as far as volume. So maybe I'll just move Disca K down. So let's make some space here. We'll move this one down this morning just to watch that one. I'll keep Disca A. That one looks good. Disca K, let's remove this one. AMC. AMC looks good, guys. AMC's been trading very, very well. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Here's Mara. Mara will be the Bitcoin play for today that I'll keep an eye on. I think this one could be very interesting. MNMD. There we go. I would just call this MD for now. This one also very active, guys, up 10%. And again, beautiful breakout here. Norm called this one out. Looks good as well. Let's make some room. Let's see our possible. We have TME here. We have Disca K. That's good. DBGI. This one is moving. Recent IPO. So I'm not sure how this thing is going to play out. We'll take a look at that. We have BNGO. BNGO doesn't look all that great today. Let's get rid of it. Still not getting better. So we'll get rid of that one. Viacom. Again, these are all in play. I don't want to watch Viacom, though. I'm get rid of that one. Airbnb. Airbnb taking a bit of a drop here, guys. So again, very, very active. 4.4 million shares traded. Although you got 3.2 right on here, still got a lot of shares being traded here on Airbnb. We do have shares for sure. This does look good today. We'll keep an eye on that one. Here's X. X will good possible. Let's see if X can continue with some of these days that we've been getting here. Some really good wide body candles here on X, and a beautiful breakouts, beautiful breakdown. And if you look at the intraday trading on X, it's been trading very well. So let's keep it on deck. Could actually be one that gets better as the market gets closer to open. Plug is good. Maybe you could move Plug up. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we can move Plug here. Let's move Plug into the main list this morning. Let's get rid of it from our secondary list. PLTR could be a hit or miss. I do like the price action right now on the daily, not the price action, but the daily. I do like it slamming up against this 20 mark right over here, guys. So that is good. If we can break out of that, that could be very nice. Here's T. T's got some action, but again, for the most part, they don't trade very well intraday. But their pre-market today, though, does look better than usual with some heavy volume, guys, 6.5. So we'll take a look at that. Here's Neo. Neo this morning. Could be okay. Definitely want to keep a close eye on that one. And then we have our low flow of the day, which is not looking too great. Only at 169,000 shares traded. So I had a big day on Friday, trying to see if we can hold here and get another continuation towards some of these higher levels that we have seen on LED there. So all right, let's do levels, guys. Well, let's start with Apple this morning. Apple stuck around the highs and lows from the last 2 trading days, if you look at this here. So you do not need to add a whole lot on here. Towards the bottom, you pretty much cover highs and lows from Friday, highs and lows from Thursday. Again, everything's being taken care of you there. Above that, price action, previous day close, high of the pre-market. At the moment, it's going to be this previous day close based on this drop here of 1.3 million shares. We're seeing some action, some movement right now as well on it. So we'll see how that plays out. Above that, above Friday's high, we do have this nice level here over at a 129.925. So 129.25, you can see right on there a couple of days opening and closing around that area. You're getting a little bit of support right on here as well. So definitely an area you want to keep a close eye on. Above that, if we were to break out, this is another great level of support and resistance. This 131, guys, look at the support here, here more support, and then becomes resistance. Look at this beautiful test of that level, 131.09, and then the slam down. So that looks pretty good there. Disca A, guys, very active this morning. Again, these stocks normally do not trade very well, but they definitely got some news today that's making them move very nice. 42.81 high of the pre-market towards the low of the towards the bottom. Low of the pre-market at 38.09, so we'll throw a level there as well. Price action right now, there's some levels here on the daily that we can mark down. We have this one here, 38.91, and you can see in the pre-market how that is acting. as support as well, right on there, right? That 38.91. That's coming here from these couple of days, using that as resistance right over here. So that's pretty good there. Above that, we do have another one all the way up here around 39.53. So we'll throw another level there as well, 39.56, excuse me, 39.56. Nice area of resistance there if we were able to break out of some of these or slam down to some of these levels here. All right, so we're looking good there, guys, on DISCA A. Let's look at AMC. It's been very, very explosive. The last 2 trading days are doing a good job here with the highs and lows. We do have the low of the pre-market at 13.22. We do have the high over at 13.70, so that's good. And then again, as I mentioned, you're surrounded by the highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. Big day on Thursday, nice continuation on Friday. Can we do this again towards this area of great resistance? 1450 or so. If you go back into which is March, into March, you see a couple of days here, you cannot get above that. So we got some momentum now. We got some volume in the last couple of days. Can this be the third time is a charm? Third time is a charm if we can get up there. Let's see if that's going to play out for AMC, right? If we able to break out of that, guys, this thing can run. We've seen it do this before in the past. A beautiful squeeze here, 1577, 1719, and then all the way up here, 2040. So this thing is no stranger to getting a nice squeeze here and getting going. Here's Mara, guys. Bitcoin again, as you know, taking a huge hit over the last couple of weeks, and more so now with all the not positive news about Bitcoin, being accepted, not being accepted, being canceled, all this good stuff with Tesla obviously leading the way in that news there. So $20 is the low of the pre-market on Mara. Below that, we do have the low from 2 days ago, Thursday, right on here. This will be around 18 or so. So that's doing a good job there for you. Outside of that, if we look over here, high of the pre-market on Mara, it's going to be 2150. So we'll throw a level there as well, 2150. There we go, 2149 to be exact. And then above that, guys, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. We do have shorts on Mara. Riot is also in play. I think Mara just looks a little bit better as far as volume and pre-market action, just a little bit cleaner. So I like this one a little bit more than Riot, but you can watch either one of these. NMMD here, guys. This one is popping up a bit. Up 12%, 833,000 shares traded. It's not a low flow stock, guys, but they definitely got some news today, and they're moving very well. 381 is high off the pre-market. Above that, look at that 381 too. Look at the area of resistance. How many days are slamming up against that price? 381 there. Above that, we do have 425, another good one right on here, guys. 425, great area of support, a little bit of resistance as well. And then slightly above that, we do have 489 also. So some pretty good levels off the daily here towards the top. And then towards the bottom, we got a great area of support. We've been stuck between 2 consolidation periods here. This one and then also this one right on here, right? A little bit lower. So again, just kind of banged up our heads against this, and now we broke out a little bit on Thursday, and now we have a little breakout here. Can we get the momentum to keep going? Volume is great. Pre-market action is active. This will be a good one to watch today. Here is Plug, guys. Plug has been a lot of fun to watch, as we know. Right now, pre-market action is looking very good. 632,000 shares traded. High of the pre-market, slightly above the previous day close, but you want to keep a close eye on the previous day close. It's going to be a major level there. 24.94 is your high of your pre-market. Above that, you do have the highs from Friday right on here around 25.51, and that's a good level. Look at the area of resistance here on these 2 days, and also you're seeing that, you saw that on Friday as well. Now, as far as support towards the bottom of the price action, look at this area of resistance, guys, that can now become support. What's support on Friday, as you can see right on here, and also was somewhat of support this morning, even in the pre-market, getting very close to that 23.80. 83. So let's see what Plug is doing here. Great pre-market activity, guys. This is what we're talking about, what we want to see, the drop down, the bounce, and you've seen a great pre-market action. This is what we're looking for on a stock. This is not what we're looking for in a stock, right? Usually when you don't have volume, this is what you're getting. When you do have volume, you get this beautiful price action. In most cases, you get that. Some cases you get great great volume, and you come in here and it looks like this, right? A couple of block trades that you don't want to be no part of. All right, that is good, guys. I think the watch list looks okay. Our secondary list has some good potentials here. Look at X starting to get going already, so I do like that one. POTR is just chopping around here, throwing some volume up and down, not really doing a whole lot. But aside from the pre-market action doing all of this, look at the daily, guys. The daily looks very, very, very good on PLTR. So we just need a little bit of a push here from the SPY, and hopefully we can get something going here. T is interesting. Neo is decent. TME is just brutal. Let's get rid of this. This doesn't look good at all. Disca K possible. DBGI, so. All right, let's see what our moderators have this morning. Let's take a look at their lineup. Let's bring our visuals in here. All right, bring this over, resize this so it makes sense. And let's put this right over here. Here we go. All right, scroll up. Let's see who we got first. We do have, as usual, no IPOs for this Monday. Eamon is looking at almost the same thing, I think. My watch list: Apple, DKG, BNGO. Secondary list: PLTR, Uber, and INTC. Let's head on down here. What else do we have here, guys? So check this out. Thor has put something in the chat room drive. So if you guys can check that out, you can pull that in from there. The chat room drive is this little folder right here, guys. So you come in here, click on that. You're going to get a little pop-up, and you can download a couple of things that the moderators have put in here for you. So we have trade book templates. We have DAS, the key setups for DAS, the layouts, just a whole bunch of stuff you can get right in here from the chat room. So take advantage of that. Right over here, coming down, who do we have? Let's take a look here. John looking at Airbnb and Futu. Mike is looking at Airbnb and Facebook. Brian, AMC, DKNG, Mara, Plug, Airbnb, and UPST. Also, he's looking at gold, silver, and natural gas, looking interesting this morning. Dima is looking at Apple, Twitter, Disca K, and Disca A. Peter is looking at Apple, AMD, Disca A, T, DKNG, and also AMC this morning. Tiffany likes Airbnb, Disca A, and also Apple. Jared, Disca A, BTC. So a lot of stuff on the Bitcoin there you can look at. A secondary list: AMC, Viacom, and AT&T this morning, which again doesn't trade very well for the most part, but today looks actually decent. 7 million already, and 7 million with a good pre-market action. So that could be a good one to watch this morning. All right, perfect. I think this is all we have. No, anything we might have missed?
I just say on AT&T, be cognizant that you're not going to get some massive generally move on that.
Yep.
Don't compare it. Like if you're used to trading something else, I mean, even an Apple that can move a few bucks in a day, it's really rare to see that in T. So realize that when you're trading it.
Yep, I agree. It actually might trade better in the pre-market than it will at the market open. We've seen that. We've seen that awesome. From Verizon. We've seen that from Sprint. There was a time that they were all really in play. They were talking about mergers. If you guys remember that, was it a year ago, a year and a half maybe? And we had them on our watches, and they did nothing. I mean, even with the great catalyst, they were just horrible. Jared is also looking at UNG, Boyle, and KOLD this morning. Guys, thank you so much for joining the pre-market show over on YouTube and TradingView. We appreciate you guys being with us. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. If it's your first time here, subscribe. We are live every Monday through Friday during market hours from 8 to around 9:15 or so. So make sure you do that. That thumbs up really helps Norm and I. We appreciate it very, very much. And we will see you guys tomorrow or tonight. Tonight, make sure you join our webinar at 8 p.m. Eastern time is our morning class with myself, Mike, and Kyle. John usually stops in as well, so make sure you do that. We'll see you tonight and kind of get a feel for what our entire community is all about. So take care, guys. Trade safe, and we will see you guys tomorrow or tonight.
Take care, guys. Trade safe.